everybody, Nate Lee here, and I'm going to tell you about the wrong way to try out a new pick. Now, if you've been playing mandolin for very long at all, you have probably bought a whole bunch of picks, and there's so many out there, and there keeps being new ones coming out all the time. For instance, this 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 signature pick that I just got last week. And when you try out a new pick, most people do the wrong thing right away, which is they pick up the pick and they try to play something very, very difficult to see if the pick makes them play better. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's okay. Everybody does it. But it's not a good way to try out a new pick. So don't pick up a new pick and just see if it makes you play better, because even if it is a better pick for you, it's not going to make you play better immediately. And even then, it's not going to make a huge difference compared to things like practicing and having a good setup on your mandolin. So what should you do instead then? Well, what you should do instead is first just get a feel for what it feels like in your hand. Now, I like to look for picks that have a texture that will stick to my thumb like this. Now, I usually use blue chip picks, and those stick to my thumb the best usually. What that does for you is it just keeps it from moving around too much, and it helps because you don't have to hold the pick quite as tight to keep it from moving back and forth on you. Now, that's the first thing you can do, is just get a feel for it in your hand. Does it feel like it's going to be comfortable in your hand? And then you can start to play with it. And don't play something fast, just start with some big fat downstrokes. And I like to compare them with my normal pick. So that was the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 pick. Here is my normal blue chip, which is, oh, this isn't my normal blue chip. I don't know where my normal blue chip is. This is one of my normal blue chips. It's a TAD3R50. So I like to compare it, make a recording and compare them just on my computer, use a microphone, and nothing fancy, and just compare the tone. We'll go back to the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 pick now. Now, if you're doing a bigger shootout, maybe you have some other things, like here's this dog pick. And the dog pick has different shapes on the different edges, so you've got to try out the different edges too. So I'll just pick one at random here. And you can hear a big difference, especially between the dog pick and the other two. The dog pick makes a much more round sound. It has less attack when you hit the string, compared to, say, the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 pick, which is a much pointier pick, by the way. Now, once you've done that, then you can move on to some things with alternating strokes, but still don't start playing really fast. Just play some stuff to get used to it. Now, you can keep comparing to the pick you have, or just spend some time with the new pick, which is a great idea. Once you've compared a little bit and you have a sense for whether the new pick might be something good for you, then you're going to need to spend hours with that pick. And don't worry too much at first if you play kind of sloppy, or even if the tone's not what you'd like it to be. You're not going to really know what that pick does for you until you've played it for a few hours. So once you've done that, then you'll have a better sense for whether it's a pick you want to continue practicing with, or whether you want to go back to the one you use. For me, I pick up new picks all the time, and then I keep going back to the same one usually. But it's a lot of fun to try out the different ones. This latest one I'm trying out is the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 signature pick from Apollo Picks, and it's a good pick. Now, the last thing I'll leave you with to compare the overall qualities of the picks is what's called the drop test. So with the drop test, you take the pick and you just drop it on the counter, on your case, the floor, anything that's a hard surface. And you listen to the tone it makes. So you want it to land on its side. That first one, it landed on its edge. But that's the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 pick. Now I'm going to drop this TAD3R50 round bevel. Has a little bit deeper tone when it's dropped. How about the dog pick? Oh, that one's got kind of a thunky sound to it. And the crazy thing about it is that the deeper the tone of the pick in the drop test, the deeper the tone's going to usually be when you play with the picks. So if you're going and trying to pick out a bunch of picks at a store, you can go and pick out your candidate picks and just drop them one by one on the counter. Be careful not to let them go flying. But drop them all one by one on the counter and get a sense for what has the deepest sound, what has the brightest sound, and your pick will actually, the pick you choose, will have those qualities in it when you play. Now keep in mind that a rounded edge versus, or a rounded end versus a pointy one is going to have a different sound. The point is going to make a brighter sound, and a rounded pick is going to make a much smoother, rounder sound. So that's going to be a factor as well. So next time you're trying out picks, don't pick up your pick and see if you can suddenly play like 𝘀𝐴𝐴𝐿𝐼. It's not going to do that for you, even if it's the 𝘀𝐴𝐴𝐿𝐼 signature pick. But what you can do instead is follow these instructions I gave you to find out if the pick is indeed a good pick for you. Happy picking!